Mr. Wyant, today was your original take it or leave it deadline for LTV. Did they take it or leave it?
Well, the answer to that, I would say they neither took it nor left it.
Why?
Because we have a proposition or an acquisition of this magnitude is that important that as long as there's a possibility of a door remaining open, we want to keep the door remaining open. There was publicity that appeared today in one of the national papers that adversely affect our proposition, and we have therefore decided to extend our offer for at least another couple of days while my principals reevaluate the situation.
This offer being $150 million for LTV's 56% in Braniff?
That's right, and this is a cash offer. And I want to state here that I do have the backers and that we are prepared to come forward and make this offer of $150 million.
Is it true that when you came down today, you were prepared to tell LTV who some of your backers were?
When I arrived in town last night, I was prepared to hold out until the last minute today on instructions from my principals, and then to notify them that if I couldn't obtain the option, which we are seeking, that some of my principals would be made available this day today if it had not been for this article that appeared today.
You have quoted Jim Ling as saying, Mr. Wyant, you're not for real. Let me ask you, are you for real?
Well, I've stated publicly to the press and now to television that I do, and I want to state this emphatically, I am backed by $150 million, which I am prepared to step forward to, and all that we've asked for is a simple option. And I'm going to take a minute to explain this option. This option would be made up to me alone, non-transferable except with LTV's permission, and also the article in the Wall Street Journal mentioned that this would freeze out anyone else in the meantime. I also stated that the option could list that if a better offer was to come along in this 2-week interim period, that all that we would request was a first refusal to match it. Therefore, I cannot see where LTV, for an offer of this size, has anything to lose by saying, okay, put up or shut up. And this is what I've tried to do all along.
An individual asking the city trying to make the city stop issuing permits for apartment construction?
Well, I don't want to try to make them. I'd rather put it that I'm asking them not to. But if we have to go to court to stop it, then we'll go that way.
Hurricane, I haven't even had a chance to talk to Frank about this, but a Hawker hurricane someplace in Thailand setting in a farmer's field. Incidentally, the Hawker hurricane was the predecessor to the Spitfire, the British Spitfire, in the Battle of Britain.
It is a virus disease, not a bacteria nor a fungus. And the sprays that we normally use to control bacteria and fungus diseases are not effective for this virus disease.
In other words, right now there is no cure for it.
That is correct. We hope to develop some resistant San Augustine variety grasses, and work is being done along that line since we can't control the disease with chemicals.
Is there a great deal of decline in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
Yes, sir, there is. Anytime the grass gets a little bit weak, it's subject to attack by the virus.
How does a person spot it in his lawn?
The grass begins to turn a little yellow and gradually loses all of its green coloring, and it usually has a little brown tip on the end of the leaves or blades of the grass.
You know, when you talk about a disease of your lawn, like St. Augustine Decline, and you listen to a man like this talk about the germ or the virus or the bacterium, sounds very much like you're talking about one of today's disease problems with human beings. And just maybe you think you're talking to a doctor. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move at Dallas Municipal Auditorium.
Volunteer organizations reach so far into the community that even in this tight year, with an important story to tell about the 70 agencies needing so much help, that even though it is somewhat difficult, I think it can be done with a strong story and with the aids that are available, such as the film, which so many people will be seeing this year, called Blueberry Rain, this kickoff program, literature that will be mailed out, newspaper publicity and advertising paid for by sponsoring advertisers, radio, television commercials. I think this will all go to telling a complete story that'll put us over the top.
Is this year more important than any other year?
It is, because the needs of the community are greater. Population's increased. So many more people need so many more things, I think, in these days and times when everything's so much faster. And with more people, we have more people sick and more people in need of assistance.
This $150 million that you're offering them, as you say, it's part of it's yours. Is this strictly a cash deal, or are there any securities involved?
This is strictly all cash. Between now and next February, the entire amount would be paid in.
Who have you dealt with directly at LTV?
Well, I've dealt with 3 chairmen of the board over there, from Mr. Ling, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Thayer, and Mr. George Griffin. I've also had conversation with Dennis Lyons, Grant Fitz, and 1 or 2 others over there.
Do you feel the numerous shakeups of LTV management have hurt your offer?
Well, I don't know whether they've hurt any, but I can honestly say I don't believe they've done it too much good.
Well, we plan on having an injunction served against the city of Dallas where they can issue no more apartment permits until we get satisfaction on our part.
That's apartment building permits. Why are you doing this?
Well, I lost a son and daughter-in-law in the San Carroll Apartments on May 12th. And my purpose now is to keep this from happening to some other parents.
We appeared before the Texas Highway Commission in February of this year and asked permission to conduct exploratory studies on the toll bridge prospects at Mountain Creek Lake, which would connect down Grand Prairie and that big area out there with downtown Dallas. Highway Department indicated at that time that they were going to finance the project themselves and conduct their own studies on it. Now, we've again been contacted by interested citizens in Grand Prairie and Dallas concerning this project. And if the Highway Commission gives us approval, we intend to undertake immediate studies of this project, and we think it's a very worthwhile project and one that hopefully will be economic.
How are your studies coming along on the additional turnpike between here and Dallas?
They're substantially completed, and we hope to have those studies available at our fall meeting, which will be in either late September or early October.
Colonel, there appears to be a Confederate rumor flying around the country that the Air Force intends to turn over a portion of the fleet, perhaps all of the F-111s, to the Confederate Air Force. Any comments on this, sir?
We'll take them.
You're looking to purchase any particular type of aircraft?
Well, we have a task force that's ready all the time, looking all over the world for different airplanes. And we have a line on some Japanese Zeros, we think, in the South Pacific. It's something I've worked hard on. It's something that I understand. It's something that I think I had something to do with the final decision. And it's a very important decision for Texas, because what it says is we're not going to accept a tariff plan that would have busted the price of domestic oil and thrown a lot of people out of work in Texas. But it's also an important decision for the country, because given the turmoil in the Middle East, a tariff program would have made much more difficult the import of oil. And so I think this is good for Texas, it's good for the national security, and the administration did the right thing in killing this tariff proposal, and I'm proud to have had a part in it.